It can't be that bad, oh, 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 it can't be that bad.
There's Sneaky Pete is a show.
Oh, tell me
produced
about
by Bryan Cranston. I haven't seen it. My dad's been talking a bunch about it.
it. Why do you not listen to your dad's recommendations? Every time you tell me about something, you're like...
Too many shows. And also, it kind of gets ruined for me because since I see him in the kitchen watching it, I see some like juicy parts, and I'm like, well, it's ruined for me. Probably
you're
not.
not going to remember by the time it comes
Okay,
around.
it's really just a commitment issue. It's just like
You're
there's
afraid of
so many
commitment.
things. I'm afraid of commitment, dude.
Be honest.
I
Hey,
can't.
take a deep breath and say it again.
I'm afraid of commitment.
There you go. That's step one.
I live my life in fear because I'm in a long-term relationship.
What I need is randomness.
What I
and
need
spontaneity.
is chaos.
I'll punch you in the mouth if that'll help.
Yeah, that'll make things more
I
exciting.
haven't tasted blood in my mouth in years.
Please, because I've
When is the last time you've... Oh, I was going to say never, huh?
When is the last time I've been in a fight?
Or like tasted blood in your mouth.
Probably like when I bit my tongue
Well, that doesn't count.
last week or some shit.
Eating boba too fast.
Oh, welcome.
My name is Christian Baltazar.
And my name is Alejandro Jeffrey Adrian Mendoza Middleton.
Wow, I've never put my full name out there. We're definitely...
My name is Bleep 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 Bleep.
Hey, that's our word. I'm the co-host of a beautiful show here. We call it ICBTB Podcast.
But if you like to play out acronyms, it's also known as It Can't Be That Bad Podcast.
That's right, guys.
So if it's your first time, welcome.
Welcome.
It's a spooky month.
Spooky season is actually the most common phrase in October right now.
Spooky season?
Yeah, it's the most Googled word. It's the most commonly said phrase on local news. John Oliver did a thing on it the other day.
Specifically on Google
He
searches.
did like a cutaway. No, he just did a cutaway on spooky season and had like 80 different local news stations being like, it's spooky season, spooky season, spooky season. Welcome to spooky season.
No one else
spooky
could come
season,
up with a
spooky
different
season.
phrase.
We're not very smart here in America.
No, not at all.
We hear something that sounds good and we make it work. That's
We-
why the Bible is so strong here,
Yes.
because it sounds good.
People love it.
And people hate it.
And haters hate it. Yes.
Like everything.
Like everything.
Much like the movie we're going to talk about.
Yeah, haters gonna hate, but players gonna play.
Interesting that you say it like that, because that idiom makes it seem like you should like the players. But the players of the game in this movie are actually the villains.
Yes.
And that's French for villain.
Yes, if you didn't understand that, we are also a French podcast. I think we do have some French listeners, right?
Every once in a while, but they're all very upset.
Yes. Vous clouvez avec soi.
What did you just say?
I think that's like a Patti LaBelle.
Wow. Bro, you should never say something if you don't.
Oh,
Is that what you're singing?
Yes.
You asked them if you want to have a threesome with you.
I'm afraid of commitment.
Yeah, see, this is why you shouldn't say stuff if you don't know what it means.
And I'm just kidding. Melissa, if you're listening to this, you're the most beautiful woman that I've ever met.
She listens to all of them. For this very reason, to see if you're out here behind her back trying to get French women.
trying
to get French
I'm gonna see if
threesomes.
my boo thing's cheating on me. Let me listen to this podcast.
And it's just like you with like, hey, bitch. Yes.
This is the podcast where we cheat on our significant other.
Welcome back to Cheaters, the podcast.
Where we're on the side of the cheaters.
No one ever hears their side of it. Maybe,
No.
maybe she's a real bitch, and he has to go find love from her secretary.
This is the
Does
only
anybody
way.
ever think about that?
Yes, right? This is the only way you could cure bitchness.
Honestly,
What?
that's equality.
Right?
That's equality. Maybe you want equality? Oh my god, I can't.
Polygamy.
That's not what I'm going for.
We're not condoning this.
I am against monogamy, though. I do think that's really interesting, which does kind of tie into the movie, because they did make a erroneous
Ooh,
fact.
Good transition.
They did make an erroneous fact that humans are the only monogamous animals.
Yes.
But that is not true. I knew that was immediately a lie.
Penguins.
Would you like to? I was going to ask you if you would like to guess. I have a list. I'm going to pull it up real quick.
Mm-hmm.
But why don't you try and guess how monogamous animals?
Okay, so penguins. All types of penguins.
How many types of penguins do you know?
Dolphins? Are dolphins monogamous? I don't know. I think they all fuck around. I worked at an amusement park, and all the dolphins were just kind of like very sexually active. You got a list right here?
I got it.
Monogamous animals?
Animals, bro. Animals that mate for life. In case you don't know what monogamy is, that means you're tied to one forever. The macaroni penguin, the sandhill crane, the seahorse, the gray wolf, the barn owl, the shingleback skink. I don't know what that is. A bald eagle. That's a commercial for a Mazda.
These are crazy
A
names.
gibbon. A black vulture. Beavers. And like the animal, not the hoo-ha.
Oh.
Swans. And that's the last one, 11. Swans makes 11.
Wow. Only 11 species on this planet.
Just in this list. In fact, I have a longer list. Prairie voles. This is called a dick. This animal.
You're fucking kidding, right?
Nope, this animal's called. It looks like some sort of small deer. It's called a dick. This one's called the night monkey. Again, not the most creative names, but
dude,
these are,
yeah. If the name of your species is dick, you're not getting much.
The French angelfish, the mimic poison frog, the American beaver, the deer mice. You know, there's a lot of monogamous animals, guys. The mouth brooder. That's the fish that holds its babies in its mouth. You might recognize it from Nemo.
Oh, that. Mm-hmm. Imagine if humans did that.
That's
my baby.
Some of them do. It's called a blowjob.
Ha ha! That's good one.
Thank you. That's comedy, guys.
That's comedy.
This is a comedy podcast for those of you who just showed up.
Yeah, a comedy movie podcast.
Thanks for
if you want to
tuning
be
in.
specific. Yes.
My name's Alex. This is Christian. We'll be here all week on the 98.7 The Bone.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking about movies today, Christian. You want to talk about this first one we got here?
Yeah, this first one that we got here is a spooky one for sure for the spooky season.
Ooh, spooky season's coming up.
Because
October
it's
1st.
October. It's not just coming up. It's here, and it's not leaving anytime soon.
Oh, did I scare you? That was a ghost.
Oh, man.
Christian, let me ask you, got any plans for Halloween?
You know what? I'm going to bunker down because it's a COVID season.
That's a smart move, but you know what?
What?
Halloween's the best holiday for COVID because you're supposed to wear a mask anyways.
Yeah, that's right. So if you're going out trick-or-treating, be
wear
careful.
a mask. Make sure you're a Power Ranger or something.
Yeah, and if you doorbell, put some hand sanitizer on that
away.
doorbell. Ring, ring. You don't want to cough.
I do think the best kids, the smartest kids are the ones who go to the houses with the bowls of candy.
Yeah.
And you just kind of take the bowl.
Oh, you
That's
take
what
the
I
ball?
did as a kid, Chad. That's what I did. Anyways, we'll be here baby, all week. 98.7 The Bone. Baby and the wolf.
Foy.
Anyways, we watched a movie, guys. We watched a movie called
Knock Knock.
Who's there?
Two sexy ass women.
This is like, okay, I want to get this out of the way right now, off the top. This movie is the most unrealistic thing in the world. Epitaph. Keanu Reeves is the most realistic actor ever.
That guy is Daniel Day-Lewising the fuck out of this.
There is nothing that he didn't do in this movie that I would not. Because constantly when I watch movies, I think to myself, like, what would I do if I was in that situation? How would I react if I was in that situation? And every time I was like, oh, well, I would like scream. And then Keanu Reeves would start screaming. And then I'd be like, oh my God. And then like,
mind.
I'd be like, oh, I'd probably call him like a fucking bitch. And then he like calls him a fucking bitch. I'm like, oh my God. And I was like, this is the most real movie I've ever seen in my life.
He was throwing out every single curse word that there is in the dictionary.
At the end, he does every, A, B, C, D, E, F, G of Bad Boyz, my friend.
Name it, he says it.
But that's the end of the movie. We'll get there at the end of the podcast.
Yes.
I have an itty bitty nitty gritty, but I also have a report here that I'd like to give.
Oh, a report before the itty bitty nitty gritty.
Well, it's the same.
Okay, then bring it, baby.
Yes, sir, Daddy.
Don't call, especially after watching this movie, don't call me daddy.
I never like that. I never like being
called a daddy.
Well, definitely not. But just the whole calling somebody daddy thing is such a weird.
Calling your dad daddy. Can you call your dad daddy?
No, I don't even.
Like as a 5-year-old, daddy.
Nope, it's been ruined.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I guess it's been ruined because of this generation that lives among us.
Because of Ana de Armas.
Yeah, Ana de Armas. Let's go with the itty bitty.
I have so much to say.
Yes,
so much to
I'm.
say.
And
not
going to
even
explode.
what you think I'm going to say, because I'm actually very upset with her.
Yeah. Yes, I was upset with her.
Very upset because
after this movie,
because
I want to sit her down and have a talk with her.
I just got to get it off my chest right now. We know what a Spanish accent sounds like because Keanu Reeves' wife is Spanish in the first scene.
Yes.
So we can hear a real Castilian, Barcelonian accent, right, with the lisp. And then Ana de Armas shows up and she's like, oh, I'm also Spanish from Barcelona, but she does not sound like she's from Spain. She sounds like what she actually is, Cuban. She doesn't sound Spanish. Well, she has no fake lisp, which is like that Spanish accent from Spain. And it's just like, and then the whole time she's like, I'm from Barcelona. I was born in Barcelona. It's just like, but again, maybe that just adds to the whole thing of her lies.
Maybe she's lying because, you know, she knows Spanish.
But Keanu Reeves should have been able to call that out because he's married to a real Spaniard. He's married to a real Spaniard.
But think about it. If Keanu Reeves was in that situation trying to be a polite host, do you think he'd be like, wait a minute, you're not from Barcelona. That's a Cuban accent. Fuck out of my home.
Or he might say, like, that's an interesting Spanish accent. Where in Barcelona are you from?
I guess so.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, especially if you're familiar with accents. It's because dialects are different, right?
Yeah.
So then if her response is then like, oh, well, I grew up in this like the West Side.
Yeah. No, West Side?
That makes sense.
No, West Side of Spain?
You know what I mean.
I know what you're saying.
Portugal. The West Side of Spain is Portugal.
On the east side of Barcelona, Russia. That far east.
See? So you know what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying.
Anyways, we watched a movie called Knock Knock.
Knock knock.
Who's there?
Two sexy chicks. The one from Cuba and one from
honestly,
America.
you can't think of one knock knock joke?
Boo.
Okay. You can't think of a better knock knock?
Who?
Boo hoo?
No, who? And then you say,
Who?
owl. I don't do knock knock jokes, dude.
Owl, clear.
Owl, get at him.
You're so mad. You said owl as the punchline, and then you like threw your hands down, and you looked at me, and you're like, I don't do knock knock jokes. I'm so sorry. I've asked you to do it 3 times now. I won't do it again. I'm sorry, Christian. I didn't realize knock knock jokes were your kryptonite.
In this comedic partnership, we set each other up for jokes. But you're setting me up for like, I don't know knock knock jokes.
But who doesn't know knock knock jokes?
I mean, I know the typical knock knock, who's there?
Yeah, that's how it goes.
And I'm freaking
And then the
out.
joke starts.
I'm freaking out. I don't know.
It's okay. Here, let's try it. You answered the door. Knock knock.
Who's there?
Orange.
Orange shoe.
Orange, you glad I didn't say banana?
That's see, I knew that in the back of my mind, but you put me on the spot. I'm not gonna have that ready.
Oh, I always have a couple of jokes in the holster, bro.
Yeah, dude.
You got to be ready. It's a bartender thing, I think. Mm-hmm. Can I do the itty bitty nitty instead of you keeping distracting me?
I'm supporting you. I'm actually letting you do it. Do it.
We watched a movie called Knock Knock.
Go, dude.
It's rated R. It was released in 2015. I remember the commercials for this movie, actually.
You do?
Yeah, I remember when this movie came out because it was touted as being such a bad movie.
It had a theatrical release, yeah?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, in 2015... we weren't scared to go to movie theaters. It was there's a runtime of 1 hour and 39 minutes or 99 minutes. Rating of 4.9 out of 10 on IMDb, 37% on the Rotten Tomatoes, and a shocking 1 out of 5 from Common Sense Media. So, not a lot of common sense in this film, but that holds up.
That makes sense.
Almost 0.
Yeah, it's it's backwards logic that occurs in here.
It's like, yeah, I was always thinking. I was also thinking this movie is very much the opposite of a porno, right? Like where there is still sex and boobs, but it's like, like pornos are always like 2 girls show up at your door and it's awesome, but this one's like 2 girls show up at your door and they kill you, or it's porn, but really diving deep into the script and characters and playing it out. This is what people always say. I wish porn had better storyline and better acting.
This is it.
This is it.
This is it.
This is truly it.
If you were to end the scene, the porno scene after he does sleep with them, then that's porn with a better script.
The whole movie's actually, well, if there's more sex. Well, there is quite a bit of sex actually, now that I'm thinking about it. But not as graphic. The second sex scene is not as graphic as the first one.
Oh God, the second sex scene I couldn't watch.
Really? I mean, I wasn't.
This is when Ana de Armas.
I'll tell you what. It was difficult to masturbate to this film, but not impossible.
You tried?
Anyways,
you tried?
No, I would never say such a thing. This movie, Christian, also was rated by Google users. What percentage of Google users?
80%.
No way.
Lower?
Way lower.
75%.
I said 3 ways.
66%?
3 ways.
55%.
53%.
That is so low. Are you
sure? I'm very that makes all of the sense.
That makes so much sense, but in comparison, this is a bad movie podcast. In comparison to the other films that we've reviewed so far, this is
by far the lowest.
That's
Google.
Bottom low.
This is the lowest Google user we've ever seen. Because even like the 0% IMDb movies, what did Dark Crimes get? Dark Crimes wasn't rated 53% by Google.
No, that must have 70 something.
I was gonna say even that still had 74% because people love Jim Carrey. Mm-hmm. So, man, what a shock! I am kind of shocked that it's
that low. Yeah,
synapses coming at you,
right at you.
And the synapses sounds like a porno synapses.
Should I do some groovy 70s porn music in the background?
Well, let me say the first 2 words and you let me know.
Okay.
Two nubile stranded women reveal a sinister agenda after they spend the night with a married architect. That's all we wrote. That's all she wrote.
That's all she wrote.
Directed by Eli Roth.
The Zuber.
Das Berjuden.
Das Berjuden from Inglourious Bastards.
And like, what a creepy mind this man must have to write all of these scary films, from Cabin in the Woods to Hostile to this weirdly. And his wife is the girl. His wife is
Spanish girl.
Genesis.
In the beginning.
No,
is
his
Genesis.
wife is Genesis.
He's married to Genesis?
Yeah. Because
Okay.
Belle is Ana de Armas, right?
Yes, Belle is Ana de
He's married
Armas.
to Genesis.
That's why I didn't realize that was his wife.
Yeah, bro.
She's young. She must be much younger than he is because he's like
That's
probably
Hollywood,
in his 40s. Yeah.
It had a budget. I got the budget written down right here for us. Christian, a budget is how much money they're allowed to use to make this film.
Oh, yeah?
It was $2 million.
Okay.
And how much do you think they got back?
I think they made $20 million.
I will say that I can't find it now, but I believe their box office weekend opening numbers was $1,800.
You're kidding. Really?
And it totally grossed $6.3 million. So it did make its money back.
Yeah.
But, usually horror films are notorious for being very cheap to make and very big on the returns. I don't think this is necessarily the biggest success for horror films.
This
right?
is probably what happened. People went to go see it. Like, a lot of people went to go see it at first.
Horny people bought this film.
Yes. I mean, they saw Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves will pull. They saw the two girls knocking. Of course, they're going to want to come for that. But then after they saw the ending, since there's a bunch of mixed reviews for it, they must have told their friends, don't see it, which is why it didn't have as big of a return as you think it would.
I think as the more famous Ana de Armas gets, this film will, it's going to be like that film where you get to see her boobies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because now she's going to be so famous where she's not going to show her boobies anymore.
It's going to be like Monster Ball for Halle Berry.
Yeah, or was it not Spies Like Us? That's what Dan Aykroyd. What's the spy movie with Jamie Lee Curtis and Arnold Schwarzenegger?
I know. I feel like the word lies is in it. True Lies?
True Lies.
It is
job.
True Lies. That's what it is. Which is crazy, you know? Like,
Great movie. But,
it's going to be that movie.
I think so.
But Ana de Armas, and just this is from doing research for the film, does show skin in other films too.
Nice. This is her first English film, or film in English, I believe.
Really? Prior to this, she was just doing films in Spanish.
I assume, yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever. I think she speaks a handful of languages. I don't really know a lot about her. I do know she's in the new James Bond film,
She's
though.
the new Bond girl.
Yeah.
And she looks badass.
I wonder how this movie's going to be, man. They keep pushing it off. Now we're not going to get to see it until 2021.
They're really blue balling us. They're just pushing it and pushing it. They're doing this with a lot of movies.
Are you going to prepare for this movie? Are you going to watch it in theaters? Are you going to watch
the
new
Bond film?
Yeah.
Well, it depends on the state of the world. I would like to, and I would
right
like
now
to.
it's slated for April of 2021.
I would
You have
like to at
plenty of
least
time.
watch all of the other Bond films prior to going to the theaters to watch that one.
All of the Bond.
Yeah, I'll watch it with you. I promise.
Nice.
I'm not gonna watch it without you.
That's 20 plus
I
films.
promise. No. All of the. I'm sorry.
You said all of them.
All
I
of
said
the.
check the record, bro. It's already recorded.
All
You
the
said
Daniel
all of them.
Craig films.
No, now, well, we'll get all of those too. Don't worry.
I know, but I don't have that.
You've never seen even the Pierce Brosnans?
Oh, I have.
Oh, okay.
But like in passing as a kid, I'm not like fully paying attention.
Those are super sexual. Like those are like the crazy. Like
Pierce Brosnan.
Roger
baby.
Moore gets really sexy, but Pierce Brosnan has like weird sex. Like that girl tries to crush him with her thighs. Jean Grey from the X-Men films,
really?
is a bad guy, and she tries to kill Pierce
she's
Brosnan
a
with her
thigh
thighs.
crusher?
That's her whole thing.
Puts her around his head and tries to like nut
Honestly,
crack.
not the worst way to die.
No, yeah.
You've seen The Boys. You've seen that girl sit on that dude's face.
Yes,
That's
splat.
the worst way to go.
Yeah, but this ain't a podcast about the boys.
No,
Oh,
it's actually about Knock Knock. But you know what? Very similar in the violence.
yes, very.
Knock Knock. I got so many notes here. What do you want? I got through the nitty gritty. I got through my bit. You take it.
So
You take
for
it.
the first half of this film, baddies, if you haven't seen it, it
porno.
starts off. There's like 3 parts. Let me separate this into 3 parts. For the first third of the film is very wholesome. You see Keanu Reeves. You see that he's happily married, and you see his relationship with his kids. And you see that he lives in a beautiful home and whatnot. Second part, that's when the girls finally knock, and it's not quite a horror movie yet, but since everyone who's watching it knows that it is, they all know it's the build-up. It's just very tense.
I really like. Well, let's break it down. Let's
Yes.
go from the top then. So in the beginning, we do see his whole family dynamic, and we do see how he is a pretty loving father, and he lives in this nice house. His wife is an artist.
Yes.
Who's selling her art, or she has a show coming up or something like that. We meet everybody. We meet all the players. We meet her assistant, Lewis. We meet the kids. We meet the mom. And the camera is constantly doing this like rear window long single shot through the hallway, walking through the house.
Yeah, you see all the pictures of every single kid.
You see the artwork. You see the pictures. You see the whole house. And they do that walk through the house about 5 times. Mm-hmm. And the house is, shockingly, progressively, it's different every single time. So the first time we see it, it's a very well put together house. And then we find out it's Father's Day.
Yes.
And Keanu Reeves does this. He does that like monster talk to the kids that I think is like.
Oh, monster confused.
I think, first of all, my first note is those are not Keanu's kids. Those don't look anything like those could ever be his kids.
No, yeah, but his wife was definitely fooling around.
But I would love to have Keanu Reeves as a dad if that's the kind of dad he is.
I'll take him as a dad right now, as a 27-year-old.
So I just think that was a great way to really show us all what we needed to see in the very beginning and set it all up. So the mom and the kids are going away for the weekend. Dad has to stay home and work because, that's what dads do. He even does that dad joke of like, if I don't work, we're going to live in a box. You know what I mean? Which, again, just like...
Do you guys want to live in a box?
Another point for Keanu Reeves' dadness.
Yeah, and then he says, unless I make it, I wouldn't want to live in there.
Right?
Because he's an architect.
Which we find out like 2 seconds later. He says that before we find out he's an architect. At least I didn't know he was an architect yet.
No, yeah, we didn't know.
So then they leave. He's got the house to himself. He's listening to music. He's doing his work. And then I do think it's kind of funny how like he's home alone. He like kind of like peeks over his shoulders and he like grabs his little stash.
Oh yeah, it's a
sets up his little
schmush
pipe.
a little weed.
He doesn't even get to.
Yeah, right when he puts the pipe up to his mouth, that's when you hear the word. That's when you hear the knocks.
Yeah, I did want to say Luis. As soon as we meet him, I was like, oh, that's Explanation Man.
Yes.
Right? Because he's like, oh, no, I'm just here to move the yard. I'm just here to make sure that your mom and dad, I was like, I got it. That's
in an
Exposition
improv
Man.
scene, there's like always that guy, if there's two improvisers doing a scene.
Oh, are we still here at North General Hospital in Texas? Dr. Smith and Nurse Ratchet?
Giving everyone their roles and the setting, so we're all caught up now.
That's Lewis.
That's Lewis.
So I do think it's really funny that like, yeah, I don't know why I keep saying that. I do think it's really funny.
Because
this movie is pretty
we think
funny.
it's funny, yeah.
It's scary, but it is definitely a horror film.
But it's fun.
But the like irony of the irony of all of it is what made me like still want to see more of it, you know? The kids leave, he's home alone, he goes to smoke, and then what happens, Christian?
Dude, there's knocks at the door. And he's like, oh, that's odd because it's like raining heavily outside. And so he goes up to the front door, and the way this is shot is making every guy in the movies just kind of like, my moral compass is quivering. And by moral compass, I really mean moral compass.
For me, my thing is I don't usually answer the door for people. And even if I answer the door to these two women, they'd be like, we want to come inside. I'd be like, no, you're not coming inside.
Mm-hmm. Even if they look like that.
No, fuck no. I'm not going to let strangers in my house.
Yeah, probably not at
I'm not going to let
strangers.
No way. I'm home alone. First of all, also, with all the stuff going on, a man should never be home alone with two women.
No.
A grown, married man should not ever be in a house alone with two very much younger than him, which we find out later that they're potentially underage women.
Yes.
Which just like feeds the point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't risk it, man. It's just not, it's make everybody safe.
Yeah, but if he had
tell your neighbor to come over.
Closed the door, there wouldn't have been a movie. This
Honestly,
is trying to show that hypothetical.
There was a couple of times where I wanted it to just be like, and credits. Like,
dude, I will tell you that I've paused this movie collectively probably 25 times because I would get too stressed when they would come inside. And I knew what it was turning into, and like they would start slowly coming on to him, and like he'd be so uncomfortable. I kept pausing it.
I did feel really uncomfortable for him because he does make a very effort of like not being close to them, and like they really do force him to have sex with them.
Yeah.
But the awkwardness, you can see it in Keanu Reeves. Like it is really weird for him to be in this situation. Again, real acting.
I think that's how. Every man, and there was nothing wrong in his relationship. It's not like he was trying to get back at his wife or like
but they do
relieve stress.
But him and the two girls do this musical chairs game
where he sits on like the couch and like they sit and
trying to get away from them, right? So they come and sit next to him.
He becomes. I want to applaud him for that great acting because he was being a good person at first.
Totally.
Really trying to like
honestly too good.
Hey, like I'll call you an Uber. It'll be here in 45 minutes.
I'll dry your clothes.
Yeah, he'd even offer to dry their clothes because he knows that's you can't say like, hey, do you want to let me dry your clothes? Yeah, take off your clothes so I can dry.
Yeah, he waits until the Uber. Well, he orders them an Uber and it's like 40 minutes away.
Yes,
and so in that time he's like, well,
I have to entertain them as guests, make sure they don't do anything crazy, and like, okay, it's just 45 minutes. But then slowly and slowly, they make themselves more and more at home, and they start flirting with him, and they like, out of nowhere, just slide in the topic of sex into their wholesome conversations. They're like, wow, you're 43? I would have guessed you're like in your late 20s. Like, do you work out?
But even Keanu Reeves is like, I don't know anybody who's just like forward with, like, if a woman was that forward with like a sexual, if anybody, not just a woman, it's even maybe a little more taboo if it's a woman. But I think if anybody is that open with like talk, that graphicness of, sex talk to a stranger, that's weird to be that open to a stranger.
Yeah, they've had zero rapport prior to this, and to be that forward, that's already odd.
Yeah.
That is odd. And like, this movie's really trying to play at the hypothetical fantasy that every man has. Like, people, guys watch porn and they fantasize about these like situations, and this is trying to show us the horrors that could have the truth, right? This was like an elongated Black Mirror episode, especially like how the ending played out, I'd say.
I mean,
without the addition of like crazy technology,
and definitely like the way that it ends, kind of like, I want to see this movie. The worst part about this movie is I need to see the next hour.
Yeah,
like I need to see what happens in the next hour. Like they do so much. I need to know what happens because the other thing is he's so scared that I'll save it for the end because we got to just kind of work our way through it.
Yeah.
So the girls I did get really kind of scared every time the girls had this like look. They did it a couple times when they first like go into the house. They share a look and there's this like piano chord, and then like after they have sex and he falls asleep, they both like wake up and like have a look, and then it's the same kind of like that chord sent shivers down my spine.
That's Eli Roth.
That was actually really fucking.
That's the
scary.
Mastermind of horror working on the set, Eli Roth. No, and like it was a subtle, intense buildup. Like I said, it wasn't horror until like when they wake up after having sex. It doesn't become a horror movie.
I do also think Keanu Reeves didn't need to go into the shower.
No, he could have like
left the clothes there and then just like went into the other room and did his own thing.
But do you think they would have just walked out naked and it would have just happened elsewhere?
It would have forced them to have to do something.
Do you think at some point they would have been like, okay, you passed our test. We're going home.
That's what they seem to hint at the end.
Yeah.
That they do this all the time. They play this death, because this movie this is a remake.
Yes.
Based on a 77 movie called Death Game. And essentially these girls are playing the death game.
Yeah.
Right? That's what
they're just trying to teach lessons to these. They're trying to prove a point that every married man is going to be a victim to infidelity.
I don't even think they're trying to prove a point. I think they're just playing a game.
Really? Because that means these girls
playing death game.
Are purely sociopathic.
Chaotic evil. Yeah, of course, bro. Yeah. Look at the shit that they did.
But okay, so
like they're over paper mache. So we got to get to it. So he fucks him. He falls asleep. He wakes up. They won't leave. They're like ruining his house, trashing the kitchen and shit. And he's like, you guys got to get the fuck out of here. I'm going to call the fucking police. And they're like, well, we're underaged.
Yeah.
And he was like, what? And he's like, you told me that you were. And he's like,
dude,
and so they're like, well, if you call the police, we're going to tell them that you raped us and blah, 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 and all this stuff. And
because they're saying that Belle is 15.
And so and Keanu Reeves is, freaking out. And so finally he's like, well, what do you want? You want me money? And they finally get to this agreement where he's going to drive him home or drive him back to their house or whatever. So they get in his car and he drives him, tells him to get the fuck out of the car or whatever. He drops him
they're
off.
like, you don't even want to say bye, Evan? He's like, go.
Fuck you. He gets out of he drives away.
Get the fuck out of here.
This part was also super creepy. Instead of walking, like they start walking up the driveway to the house, he drives away, and then they just like turn and
go the opposite direction of whatever house they were dropped off at.
Just like walk through a park, light
Belle
a cigarette.
was saying that was her mom's house or her parents' house or whatever.
And so like they set this whole thing up that this is her childhood home, and then they just like, nope.
These girls are
just
creepy. They could have easily made a spin-off of this movie about their two. Like, how did they get to that point? Because
how did they learn the death game?
I don't know.
Why are they playing the death game?
They know some people because, okay, let's jump to Lewis because Lewis eventually comes amidst all this chaos.
You're right. That is a huge,
it's a huge point.
So, and it was something that actually was really, so Lewis comes because he's coming there to pick up a piece of artwork that the girls have vandalized already.
Oh,
they draw like dicks on it and
let's kind of go through this process because
the girls come back and vandalize, or do they do it on the first day?
They come back. I think they come back and vandalize it.
They draw dicks on it the first day, but then when they come back, they're smashing it with hammers when Lewis is there.
That's what it is.
So the girl, so much in this movie.
So much to say.
Girls don't go to the home. They walk away. Keanu Reeves goes home. He tries to do his clean up the whole house, get his shit together. That night, the girls show back up.
Creepy.
The girls show back up. They knock out Keanu Reeves, right? They tie him up with the cords, and then they're like doing this game show with him, where he's being like tortured essentially, and then all of a sudden there's a knock at the door again, and it's Lewis. And the girls grab Keanu Reeves' phone and they text Lewis some bullshit story or whatever, and they hide Keanu Reeves in a different room, and Lewis comes in, he's like, who the fuck, like, he's like, oh, who are you girls? And they're like, oh, we're his niece, we're shooting a music video, that's why we look so crazy, whatever. He's like, oh, well, I'm here to go pick up this artwork. And
then once he sees the artwork,
before he even sees it,
it's covered in it's covered,
but it's supposed to be packed, which they already set up in the beginning. It's supposed to be packed, ready to be shipped.
Yeah.
And he's like, what the fuck happened here? He's like, how come it's not packed, ready to go?
And then he unveils it.
And it's fucked.
It's fucked. It's covered in dicks. Have they started smashing it already?
No, because this is when he turns around and says the best line in the movie.
He says,
he goes, oh. First of all, the girls try to like stop him from going
They're
crazy.
like, don't tell Karen. Don't tell Karen.
They're like, don't call the cops. Like, everything's fine. They're being weird. He's starting to freak out. He's pulling his phone out. And then she like touches his hand and he goes, you're barking up the wrong tree, bitch. Is he gay?
No, he's not gay. I think he was just trying to say.
But that line, you're barking up the wrong tree.
Maybe he is gay.
But, right? I only ever hear people say barking up the wrong tree when they're talking about like a guy hitting on a lesbian or like a gay guy hitting
and they don't swing that way.
Yeah. So you're barking up the wrong tree. I play for the other team, right? When do you ever hear that in any other idiom?
So, okay, let's say he's probably gay. Not only is he gay,
but then he says the best line of the movie. He turns to and goes,
I'm from Oakland, ho.
Bitch.
He
says, I'm from Oakland, bitch.
No, it's Oakland, ho. I wrote that.
Fuck.
But then he does say bitch afterwards.
He's just, that turn though was very not expected.
Not expected. I was rooting for Lewis, man. Lewis was ready to throw down.
The other thing that they set up from minute one when we meet Lewis is that he has asthma.
Yes, he's just puffing on an inhaler, which
Let me ask
asthmatics don't do that.
And I do want to ask you about this real quick. I want you to rate his inhaler game.
7 out of 10.
Really?
Because he's doing, when you take a...
Those look like bad inhales to me. Those look like shallow puffs.
I'm being generous. My 7 out of 10 is being generous.
Nice.
Because when he takes too big of a puff when he hits the inhaler, it's like, it's too theatrical. Like, you just, and first of all, you're not taking it that often. I get that you have to implement within the plot that you need to take it.
Yeah.
But just do it in the beginning.
It didn't seem real. His inhaler game didn't seem real to me. As somebody who doesn't have asthma, though. But again, you do, so maybe your 7's better than mine.
But he's... Do you want asthma so that you can know?
No, bro. It's not a real thing.
I'll give it to you. No, it's a real thing. Let me breathe into the mic so that you could hear it. Come on. That's real, dude. That sounded bad.
That's just your pre-diabetes.
And that's because I went jogging and maybe runs in my family. Thanks for bringing it up. You dick.
Oh, yes, I got one.
But he does say, this is when he does say bitch. So he says, I'm from Oakland, ho.
Okay.
Like, I can see past two fake ass bitches like you, is what he says.
Yep.
And I'm like, fuck, Lewis.
Does he slap her?
I don't think he slaps her, no.
Fuck, I wish he did. Anyways, that's when he hears Keanu Reeves screaming. So he goes to find Keanu Reeves and he's like, what the fuck's going on? And he goes in the room. Keanu Reeves is like, lock the door, close the door, blah, 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 blah.
Keanu Reeves is tied up to a chair at this point.
Yep, the same chair that he was tied up to earlier. And they're freaking. And he's like, I'm going to call the cops. He's like, no, you can't. And before he can even explain to him what's going on, the girls are smashing the sculpture with hammers.
They each have hammers and they're just going ham on it. And that thought of you touching my wife's things, not only just her things, but things that she's passionate about, things that she has a show for. Oh my gosh, I'm fighting you. I'm fighting you.
So Lewis goes out there to fight them.
Mistake number 1. He doesn't free Keanu Reeves, so he has a tag team partner in this. Come on, 2v2, dude.
Definitely, dude.
He's like, I'll be back. I'm going to fuck them up.
That's right. Well, but he's trying to solve the task at hand.
Yeah.
Right? He's there to get the art sculpture. They're doing the one thing that like you would never expect to happen right now, right?
What's the last literally the worst thing you can do?
What's the last thing you would expect to go in and picking up this art sculpture? 2 crazy ass bitches destroying it with hammers.
Definitely the last thing.
He goes out there, they start playing Monkey in the Middle with his inhaler.
Yep.
And then he
poor guy.
He just like that's straight up $1 million babies it and just like slips.
Hits his head against the corner of like the sculpture.
And again, another point for Keanu Reeves' incredible realistic acting.
Yes.
His pleading with the girls to help him. Because he's still tied to the chair and he's watching this guy die. Somebody who has nothing to do with any of this. Somebody who's not involved in what's going on. Just die
innocent
needlessly.
Life.
And his pleading to them to just do something to help him is so
good. Now, we talked about this. We said that on screen, his excessive yelling and all the words that he was spouting out and like how invigorated he was from what was going on does not look the best on screen or cinematically, right? But realistically,
it's very real.
It's very like don't act.
When you cut it out to make a trailer, it looks very comical and corny.
Yes.
But when you see it as a whole in the movie and see what's pushing him to this level of the free pizza speech, you see how much has pushed him to this level of saying like, it was free fucking pizza. Like now it makes sense.
I think
now I get why he's that crazy.
Yep.
If you were to see that monologue on its own, you'd be like, man, Keanu Reeves is crazy.
But we saw the buildup and we get it.
One thing that we didn't touch on because it was such a brief moment was there is also a third knock on the door. His neighbor knocks on the door. Do you know who that woman is?
No, who?
That woman was one of the original girls from Death Game.
Really? Yeah. So they brought her back.
So the two girls and the original guy from Death Game actually had a big hand in making this film. They were both credited as producers too in the opening scenes. Mm-hmm. So not only were they credited as producers and had a hand in making this film, but one of the girls, I believe her name's Colleen, had that cameo of being the weird neighbor next door who shows up.
Yeah, she was, and she. At this point, the girls were already over. Ana de Armas and Genesis.
They were already playing that weird game.
And so Keanu was saying, like, just wait right here. Let me go talk to my neighbor right quick. And she was almost out of his hair. But, of course, Genesis pops out, already suspicious, but then touches him and calls him baby. And she freaks the fuck out. She's like, it's your life, Evan. You're ruining your marriage. And like, of course, he looks like an asshole because this is a beautiful woman. His wife is for sure out of town and everyone knows it.
And this is a very young woman.
Very young woman. Like it's someone, it seems plausible that he's just having an affair.
These women.
They're evil, man.
Kill Lewis.
Yeah.
And then to add to their Joker-esque psychopathy, start to paper mache his body.
Oh my God.
They turn him into a new sculpture.
Yes.
And instead of putting the sculpture that he was supposed to pick up in the van, they put Lewis in the van.
Yeah.
And that's when they have that almost throwaway line of them saying, oh, well.
Ronnie could get rid of this.
He can handle anything.
Ronnie can handle anything.
Get rid of anything.
Who's this Ronnie guy?
No idea.
So we know that they've done this before. They've gotten rid of bodies before through this Ronnie guy.
Somebody's working with them. Somebody is helping them through the game.
So that was a pivotal line in the movie because now we know that this ain't their first rodeo.
Yeah.
That this is nothing to them.
They also say it's not their first rodeo. They also say, like, guys never say no.
Yes.
Like, they always do the same thing. So, but not just that this isn't their first one, but they have help. That's what I think is scariest. So clearly, like, there's
a team.
They didn't have to stalk Keanu Reeves because they know all about, like, the monster. When they bring up his monster talk, oh, is monster confused?
Yes.
That made me scream.
That's good horror. That's like, you've been stalking me?
Because even Keanu Reeves is like, how the fuck do you know about that?
Yes, dude, I'm sorry. I would windmill kick the hell out of both of these girls. I would, in one kick, get both of their faces because they make me so angry. What's up?
Really?
I can't windmill kick, but this is my
so
mind
what would
playing
you
out.
Actually do?
Call the cops. But they said statutory rape and they have the evidence. Okay.
We know you can windmill kick. What can you do physically? Would you like push them? Would you punch them? Would you? What?
I do this thing
because I'd try to punch them. That's I think my best weapon.
Of course, either that or I would scan the room for the nearest object that wouldn't.
Well, he does that. He has an object that has a hidden gun in it.
Do you think he'd be able to get away with? Let's say he killed them, and he calls the cops, and he says it was a B&E. So, do you think he has sufficient evidence to get away with it?
I was going to say this.
Not get away with it, but defend himself.
Yeah, I do think it's weird. It's weird that the whole movie's kind of premises that he doesn't want the story to get out, right? That he fucked these girls or whatever. But like the amount of stuff that they did to the house and the amount of like torture that they put him through and the amount of stuff, like I can't imagine anybody like seeing all this and being like harping on the fact that like he fucked these girls. I think there's so many bigger problems. The fact that their house is completely destroyed, millions of dollars of worth of art has been tarnished. A man is dead.
Yeah.
Was murdered in cold blood. Like careers are ruined. Multiple people's careers are ruined. Lifelong dreams are destroyed. I think maybe him having an affair might be, in the scheme of things, one of the lower ones, right?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Definitely.
So, and also like the amount of things that they did, it's not like he did that. It's not like he had an affair and was like, I know how to get out of this affair. I'm going to tank my house and do it, right? I just think the amount of destruction was too much. If they're I think the girls did too much destruction for their game.
The cops would be able to do investigations.
Yeah. They would
and
there'd be a huge trail. If this is a game that they play all the time, they'd be able to like track,
There's so much evidence.
This just happened in Albuquerque, and a month before happened in Pennsylvania.
Because there would be less evidence if it was a clean, untouched house.
The first day.
And two dead girls.
Yeah.
Right? Then he would look real suspicious. But the house was tarnished.
And if they do that to every house like they make it seem like they do, right? They should have left after they messed up the kitchen, right?
Mm-hmm.
The first night. Mm-hmm. That's how you get them. That's how you teach them the lesson and like, fuck with them or whatever.
Yeah.
But I do think they did too much.
These girls are manipulative, man. They were playing so many games. They're being very sweet and like, making sure that they're like not touching his things at first, at least too much. And then instantly, right when they wake up, they just fuck shit up. The kitchen. Do you remember when he first walks into the kitchen?
They were just eating garbage and like playing.
Ana de Armas was eating straight out of the dog bowl with Monkey, cutest Frenchie ever.
Feeding Monkey.
No, she was eating straight from it too.
Oh, she was. She was eating. And,
Later on,
you know what else she was eating?
Scrambled eggs.
She was eating a lollipop and peanut butter.
Disgusting. Genesis was eating pancakes, but no syrup on the pancakes.
No,
she had the
was
pancake,
like guzzling the syrup.
The syrup bottle, just drinking it. I mean, that's great acting if you're not gagging as you're doing that.
Oh, maybe it's just, grade AAA 100% Canadian maple syrup. So
maybe it's just that good of syrup, man. Scissorp, as some people would say.
As Lil Wayne would say.
As Lil Wayne.
Just, I don't know who gets more credit in this film of Eli Roth's crazy ass brain or Keanu Reeves' grounded realism in such a bonkers, crazy, cartoon-esque movie.
Baddies.
Tell me that Keanu Reeves didn't have all 10 toes down on the ground every single second of this film, bro.
I feel like Eli Roth didn't necessarily give him a script. His direction was, all right, do what you must if this is really happening to you.
That's even scarier, bro.
Like little to no direction. I just want to see what you could do for this movie as an artist.
This is kind of weird, but I was thinking about this on the drive home from work today because I watched the film yesterday, and I was thinking to myself, what was that night like after filming the sex scene for Eli Roth and his wife? Like when they go to sleep that night, was he like, hey babe, great job on set today, fucking that other man in front of me on camera.
You look good, but here's a few notes.
When
you make that booty bounce,
can you push your boobs up against the glass door harder?
Yes.
We're going to refilm this tomorrow because I need to see this all over again.
This is
another 8 hours of shooting tomorrow of this scene.
It's bulletproof glass, so shove up against the glass even harder.
Cut. Can we turn the steam up more?
Honey,
Can we get more steam up here?
Honey.
Babe, remember that thing you did last week? Do that thing.
Do that thing. It's Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves looks real good.
Keanu Reeves is like, hey, is this good? Are we doing this? But you know what? Here's the crazy thing is like we know how they film sex scenes on movies, right?
Yeah.
We've talked about this in the past.
Yeah.
So that's just like, that is, I don't think sex scenes in movies are like sexy anymore, right?
No.
Because all I can think about is like how awkward it must have been filming this. Let's add another level of awkwardness to it. That's your wife. Let's add another level of awkwardness to it. It's a very, very graphic softcore porn.
Yes. Like, do they still invite their family to the screenings?
Did Keanu Reeves get a Christmas film or a Christmas card from Eli Roth and his wife?
Like, can you imagine looking that girl in the eyes?
Can you imagine looking Eli Roth in the eye?
Yeah. Thank you for the opportunity.
After he read the script,
A+ tits. Your wife got A+ tits.
Did
Eli.
he read the script knowing that that Eli Roth's wife was going to be the girl, and then he like comes to him and is like, yes, I'll do this.
Yes, I'll do this.
It's like in the 7th grade when you read Romeo and Juliet. Everyone wants to be, Romeo and like to make sure that Juliet's like the hot girl. But then, you read it like, oh, I'm guaranteed to kiss her.
This is what happened. Keanu was given the script and he read it up until the sex scene. He said yes prematurely.
He got to the knock knock.
Yes.
Knock knock. 2 girls drenched in water. I'm in.
And it's your wife. I'm in. Didn't read the rest of the script, which is why the second half seems like it's improvised and he's just yelling whatever.
I do think this is an alternate universe of John Wick.
Let's speak of this. Yes. This, if you go on YouTube, because half of you guys are going to be dissatisfied with the ending. And so easily you'll go on YouTube or the internet and look
you'll
up.
Find very easily.
You'll look for ending explained, knock knock, or alternate ending.
Knock,
and
knock.
there's an alternate ending.
There is.
And I was serious about this. I clicked on that YouTube video that said knock knock alternate ending.
I haven't watched it. I just know of it.
You want me to explain it to you?
I know of it. I know what happens.
Okay.
But I didn't realize it's that easy to see. I need to see it.
Okay, so after it shows that he gets out of the ditch in which he's buried in at the end of the movie, right?
Which we do see a little bit of in the film.
Yes, and then it just cuts to him going inside the house, going down this basement that we didn't know he had, and then he has a sledgehammer, breaking the floor of the basement, and there's a suitcase full of guns, and I was like, wait, no, this is fake. This is fake.
It is straight up John Wick. It's straight up because that's what happens in John Wick.
Yes, that's what I'm imagining. I can't imagine him
You've seen
doing that
John
elsewhere.
Wick?
No, dude.
You've never seen
none of them.
Literally, what happens in the first John Wick? As soon as they kill his dog, he goes to the basement with a sledgehammer, starts smashing the cement, finds we may need to pause the camera for them because I need to see this alternate ending. Because if it is exactly John Wick, I do. And then he tracks the dog, right? Did you not watch all of it?
All of John Wick?
The alternate ending.
No, I stopped prematurely.
Because then he goes to find the dog. He uses the dog's GPS chip to track the dog.
Uh-huh.
And it ends with...
What kind of dog does he have in John Wick?
I think the dog that dies is a German Shepherd.
Okay.
And then he gets a pit bull at the end.
It would have been wild if it was this is French
the French
bulldog.
So he tracks him to this house, which we assume they're doing the game again. He knocks. Mm-hmm. They turn and they say, "Who's there?" Credits.
Wow, that's what happens? I should have finished it.
That actually, I do think that, and I don't like the hammer and the guns thing. I do think that's kind of dumb. But I do really like the idea of the knock knock, "Who's there?"
And it's
ending.
him.
Like, just, who's there?
Yes.
Just the knock knock,
because you never
who's
hear
there?
that in the film.
And so, like, just that little bit of service, I think, would have been really, really good.
Actually, I would be down for that. If they could have reshot it, because I'm that half of the viewers that dislike this ending, the original ending.
I'm not a huge fan, but it's interesting. So the wife comes home, right? She must have just like missed Ana de Armas and Genesis, right?
Yeah.
'Cause she comes home, and as soon as they open the door, they can see that the house is wrecked.
It's trashed.
And
the kids go to say, "Daddy had a party."
The son goes, "Wow!" Because just like the joke they set up in the beginning of the movie with Lewis,
Dad's gonna have a crazy Father's Day
Lewis and
party.
Keanu Reeves are gonna have a secret Father's Day party.
And that's what it seemed. It does seem really suspicious, but
oh my God, here it is. So he's tracked him with the phone. He puts on these gloves. Look at those leather. Those are murder gloves.
this is John Wick 1?
No, this is the alternate ending for Knock Knock.
But okay, the
rest of it.
The rest of it. But these are scenes from.
I think what you saw maybe was not real. I think what you saw was probably from
This
John
is not
Wick.
legitimate. This is a legitimate alternate ending?
Hang on, time out.
Because what I saw was for sure, yeah.
Faye, okay, there is a real alternate ending.
You're busting my balls right now.
No, I'm 100% serious now.
That's what this is?
That's what this is, yes. He tracks the dog on his phone with the dog tracker.
No, whoa!
Then he knocks on the door. Watch. What you saw.
I thought you were explaining to me like a knock.
No,
okay.
I misunderstood because what you saw was actually from John Wick then.
Yes.
Okay.
It was like a fan-made joke alternate ending.
Look at this then.
Okay.
That's crazy that we were both so stupid.
Well, I'm so dumb.
Can't be that bad, oh, it can't.
Beautiful. It should have ended that way.
That's a little bit of a better ending.
Because
man.
the original ending, it ends with, it fucking
Daddy had a
sucks
party.
that they uploaded that video to YouTube and people are already commenting. Because the video that's uploaded to YouTube is him having sex with Ana de Armas while she's in his daughter's school uniform calling him daddy.
Which I got a problem with.
I also have a huge problem with that.
My biggest problem with that is the daughter is like maybe 9 or 10.
Yeah.
There's no way that that's his daughter's school uniform.
Maybe at one point his daughter was
the Hulk. There's no way. There's zero way that a 10-year-old school uniform fits on Ana de Armas.
2 questions. How big is his daughter?
We see his daughter.
How small is Ana de Armas?
We see both of them.
In comparison, you know how Tom Cruise doesn't look as short as he is in real life.
Look, we don't actually see them standing next to each other in the same scene. I'll give you that.
Yes.
But we do see them in close enough relativity that I would venture to say very different sizes.
Those are different clothes, Ana de Armas. You brought those with you.
Immediately Keanu Reeves goes, "Those are my daughters." And
Take it off. Take them off.
Why did your daughter have giant clothes?
Dude. Oh, and even creepier. She lifts up the skirt of the school uniform and she's wearing his daughter's panties.
Also, no, 10-year-olds aren't that big.
No, she's stretching those panties.
Gross.
And so when he says, take it off, what does she do? She takes it off. And this is when we find out. This is when I actually got a little more...
This made it gross.
It was gross, but it did make the movie better because we're finding out a little bit more about Belle. Ana de Armas' character is saying, Daddy, do you remember that? Oh, God. Daddy, do you remember that night when you came into my bedroom when Mommy was sleeping and I was sleeping? Why did you do that? Why did you do that? Did you, saying she easily has childhood trauma and daddy issues, which is...
I thought that was all for the camera, bro.
No, I think that's... Because the camera wasn't even on yet.
I think it's all part of the act, bro. Because look at how easily they were able to cut out of character when they needed to, or how easily they're able to switch because they're psychopaths, bro.
I saw that completely differently then.
You're just believing them. You believe her.
I mean,
But why would you believe the psychopath? Why would you believe anything that comes out of these women's mouths?
No, I think that it was, I guess, cathartic for her, that situation. It's possible that she has led to become this psychopathic person because she was molested as a kid.
Maybe maybe, but I don't believe a word. You know what I mean? It's like once you fuck up the evidence, like I can't believe any of it now.
I know.
Even if it's all real deal Holyfield, I can't now. You've just fucked it. You know what I mean? That's why when I saw that, I was like, wow, this girl is just fucking with Keanu Reeves for sure.
Dude.
I thought she was pretending to, because here's how I saw that scene.
What's up?
She's pretending to be the daughter, as if Keanu Reeves did that to his daughter.
Oh, you made this so worse. So much worse for me.
I thought it would. That's how I interpret. That's why I was so shook by it.
This is why this is definitely a different type of horror. It's not gory. It's not your slasher film.
It's written as erotic thriller.
Oh, really?
And I don't know what better way to describe it as.
It is an erotic thriller.
I would even venture to say neurotic erotic thriller.
Yeah. I will second that.
Thank you.
Because but honestly, it's not super duper erotic. It's
just the first scene, just the sex scene, just that first sex scene.
And it's not even crazy. It's not like crazy sex scene.
But
you see boobs and whatnot, but it's not.
Couple butts.
Yeah, a couple butts.
Also, Keanu Reeves does not look very good. His physical shape is not. I mean, he looks actually quite a bit like I do right now without a shirt on.
He's just a dad, dude.
He looks very normal.
Yeah.
Because in John Wick, he's very buff.
Well, he has to because he's kicking ass. But here, obviously, he's not strong enough to break out of a chair.
I can't believe you've never seen John Wick, bro.
I know. I've been saving it. I think I'm gonna when I'm in the mood for something wacky. Because it's like wacky, over the top action.
It's about on the same. It's about on the same level as this film, right? Mm-hmm. So like where this isn't necessarily like a tentpole horror film.
Yeah.
John Wick isn't a tentpole. Actually, it did kind of revamp how action films are done.
Yeah, he said it was like hyper violent.
I mean, every action film since John Wick is trying to emulate that gun jujitsu shooting. I've talked about it in the past.
Yeah, and it's cool. It sounds really cool.
It'll come up. It's rated bad enough. I'm sure we could do it on this show.
Yeah, at least one of them is rated bad enough, and I'd be down
for
to do
sure.
it.
The third one is.
Yeah. Parabellum.
Parabellum. Mm-hmm. Fucking Boban's in it, dude. The basketball player.
Oh, really?
He kills him with a book.
Man, it's wild when they take like athletes and show them into
like
movies.
A 7'8" athlete. And
we were talking about this on another episode.
Ghostbusters.
I forget who was in not Death Game, not the one that this is a remake of, but Bruce Lee's Tower of Death, right?
We were talking about
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. That's what it was.
Drinks yummy soda.
Yeah. Yes.
You can't talk. I jinxed you. I have to say your name 3 times. This is my show now. Christian.
Thank you.
Would you like to rate this film?
I'll give it a solid. The ending really killed it for me. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5.
I know.
3 out of 5.
I think I'm right about there with you, leaning closer to a 2.
Oh, really?
You could read about this film on Wikipedia and then Google the free pizza monologue, and that's you set.
That's about it. Unless you're really dying to see Ana de Armas and Genesis nude. What's the actress's name for Genesis? Something Roth, I'm assuming, if you took his last name.
Lorenza Izzo.
That's right, Lorenza Izzo.
Yeah, no, she didn't take his last name, apparently.
Yeah. Most actresses don't do that.
Well, she's got a brand on it, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Put some respect on her name.
That was a crazy scene when he walks into the bathroom and he sees them naked. So weird. Like, they basically just take advantage of him. To the very end, he was really just trying to tell them, no, I'm married. I can't do this. No, I'm married. And then they both go down on him.
Eli Roth has a weird, I know he got into some trouble with one of his films coming out because it was right after a school shooting and everyone was like, this is a pro-gun movie. And he's like, no, it's just it's not. And this movie is kind of like a weird, men also get raped film too. So I do think it's kind of interesting how Eli Roth is on the other side of
But what is the moral of the story? Is the moral of the story trying to subtly say, men don't cheat on your wives, but also guys get raped too?
I think it could be both.
It's possible.
It's a PSA. Hey, guys get raped. This is definitely not how it happens, but this could be.
Also, don't let strangers into your home. And
no matter how hot they are.
Yes.
So weird.
Yeah, I mean, they're drenched in rain, and it's Ana de Armas. Okay, is she ruined for you after this movie?
No.
But I am mad at her.
But I don't think she's from Barcelona.
You're Cuban.
I don't believe that for a goddamn second.
Yeah.
She is incredible in.
Knives Out.
Knives Out.
Yeah.
Thanks for reading my mind.
You know, that was the first movie I saw her in.
Oh,
and
really?
Then I backtracked, and then I found out that she was in Blade Runner 2049.
Yep, she's actually in quite a bit. In fact, I'll pull it up real quick. But yeah, she does a lot of those, like in Blade Runner. She's the robot, or not a robot, the hologram girl. I think that's funny that she's had a couple of roles like that where she's kind of like, in the background of it.
Yeah, I'm sure what's the word for it?
She was in Annabelle.
Oh, she was?
She was in War Dogs. That's where I first saw her. Was in War Dogs.
I haven't seen War Dogs.
With Miles Teller and Jonah Hill. Very it's an entertaining
based on
film.
A true story, I know.
Well, that means nothing.
Exaggerated,
it's actually
I'm sure.
based on a Rolling Stones article.
Oh.
So that's what you should be saying instead of it's based on
a
Rolling
article.
Stones article. But yeah, did Blade Runner
yeah.
She was in Yesterday?
I don't
Wow, she said she was in an uncredited role in that movie Yesterday. I'll have to go back and look that up.
look for her.
I liked Yesterday. Did you see Yesterday?
Not yet.
You should see it yesterday.
It's one of those movies, like I said, my dad was telling me to watch.
You watch a lot of stuff, then what are you watching then?
Huh?
You watch a lot of stuff. What are you watching then?
I'm watching The Boys, Ratched.
And you're up all night, bro. I don't get it. How do I watch more stuff and more movies and TV and stuff like that? And yet I feel like you're
video games. I play video games too.
Me too.
Yeah.
How am I consuming more media?
I watch I've watched too many podcasts, I think.
You watch podcasts. I never watch.
I don't. Yeah. I need the visual aid. I don't need it, but it really helps me in
you need visual aids.
Yes. Look at these glasses.
I mean, I have contacts.
Yeah.
This is not fun for anybody.
No.
Best person on set award?
Eli Roth.
That's mine.
Yeah.
This is a
second place goes to Keanu Reeves.
That's true.
That's
true. Or that girl Colleen something who was in the original Death Games and had that cameo.
Thanks for coming back, lady.
I mean, I think that's fun, right?
It is fun. Like,
I think that's fun.
You want to come back 30 years later?
I do think Knock Knock is a better name.
It is much better than Death Game. Death Game sounds like a B-list movie for show.
A 70s horror film.
That's definitely what it was.
Yeah, guys.
That's Knock Knock. Check it out.
Follow us on Instagram.
Honestly, when I watched this,
tell me the truth.
They had just taken it off from Amazon Prime. Because that's how it came to me. I brought this movie to you because it kept shoving it in my face. Like, there's Knock Knock movies we think you'll like.
It's a bullshit $4 rental.
Yeah. Yeah.
What movie's a $4 rental?
Make it $3 like everyone else, you filthy animal.
What's the world coming to?
You're raising prices for everything.
Trump.
This is all because of Trump and
thanks, Trump.
You know who I do want to thank?
Obama?
That fly.
Oh.
On Mike Pence's head. Thank you, Fly. Fly 2020.
You think that was the same fly that was on Hillary's face?
Probably, because flies live for 24 years.
Do you think it was a descendant?
Holy shit.
Like, because flies die pretty quickly, right?
This was a maggot of the previous fly. A maggot.
What'd you call me?
Sorry.
We'll end it there.
What'd
you call me?
Baddies. Bye.
Knock, knock.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?